don't want you to know what it feels like to keep all of this pain so concealed. Like I want out of this plane, I told my psych, you don't need to, you don't need to. I'm losing patience, living in damnation. I'm dark vibrations, singing incantations. It must sound like I'm mad, I'm never found to be glad. I'm working out of the math, the answer's always been sad, yeah. I'm a zero summation, lost in translation. Here's my resignation, from this life I'm not staying. My whole lifestyle passing fad. You'll remember the times we had, the times we had, yeah. All these pleasures my brain can't have, I want out, so please don't be sad. Give it up, cause I'm getting out. Don't be sad, you could let it out. All the shit I'm forgetting now. My whole life I've been checking out. All I said, you could send it out. Light it up, now I'm headed out. This is the end of my part now. We will be never apart, no. I'm losing patience, living in damnation. I'm dark vibrations, singing incantations. It must sound like I'm mad, I'm never found to be glad. I'm working out of the math, the answer's always been sad, yeah. Don't leave, I need you with me. Don't die, I need you alive. Don't go, don't leave me alone. You said, yeah. My entire life feels like one big mistake, and all these pills inhibit re-uptake. I can't arrive at any reason to wait. Take it one at a time, only take it one night at a time. And I don't care, cause I don't give a take. From this world so superficial and fake, in all your joys I simply cannot relate. Take it one at a time, only take it one night at a time. I say goodbye, it's getting late now. Please don't cry, you'll know I made it out. Say goodbye before I fade out, before I fade out, before I fade out. I'm losing patience, living in damnation. I'm dark vibrations, singing incantations. It must sound like I'm mad, I'm never found to be glad. I'm working out of the math, the answer's always been sad, yeah. I'm a zero summation, lost in translation. Here's my resignation, from this life I'm not staying. My whole life's a passing fad. You'll remember the times we had, times we had, yeah. Let it out, all the shit I'm forgetting now. My whole life I've been checking out. All I said, you can send it out. Light it up, now I'm headed out.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the zoo. I'm the Rusty Panda, and I'm here for you. Today we got MotherOfKarp on the stream.
Yay!
Oh my god. How are those levels, people? I want to make sure that everybody can... Hi, Racket! Can hear both of us, because I look like I'm a little loud, too. So a bit low. Okay, good.
I'm a bit low. That's the first time in ever.
That's because on the OBS, I turned you up. I was yeah. How about now? That was beautiful.
Thank you. Jack!
COVID lurk. Oh no.
Jack!
Oh no.
Stop having COVID. Stop it.
Oh goodness.
Just stop it.
Oh goodness.
Seriously, feel better soon.
Yeah. That's no. Oh. Okay. So here we are. I'm going to turn your volume up internally for a second so you guys are going to get confused with the viewpoint.
Does it help if I keep yelling while you do that?
Okay. We'll be... Oh, yeah?
Yeah, you'd better, Jack. You'd better be. If you end up with long COVID, I will be very sad, and I will have to find something to do about that. I don't know what yet, but...
When are you going to see Jack?
March, actually. Well, maybe this is the place to talk about it. Fuck it. I'm going to talk about it. In March, I'm going to Boston.
Yes.
So, yeah.
That
Racket's gonna be there too. Sorry to tell everybody and everyone about your plans, Racket.
he already told us the other
Yeah, I
week.
know. Yeah. No, we're planning a really, really big trip and I'm excited. I get to see my best friend.
Aw, that's so
Yay!
exciting. That's so
Yes.
exciting. One of us will bring about a COVID to Boston somehow. Don't say
I
that. Don't say that at all. No Boston. No, and I mean no Boston. No COVID Boston. No Boston
knock on
COVID.
wood.
Yeah, yeah. So, for those of you who haven't been here before, this is Wiki Wednesday, a show where we ask the streamer 15 things they like, 5 things they don't like, and we go down the Wikipedia rabbit hole, learning some new things about the streamer and also new things about the topics. So, today we're gonna start with Dungeons and Dragons. It's one of my favorite topics, so that's why we're starting with it, just because of the mutual loving of it. So tell me, first of all, how did you do you play? Are you a DM? Are you a player? What's your
Uh-huh.
what's your role?
Oh gosh, yes. Currently I'm playing with the group that I've been playing with for the last, oh, I don't know. It's pre-COVID times, 20 since we've been playing together since like 2015, I want to say, 2015. And we rotate out DMs. We've been doing the gods are crazy style of dungeon mastering, which is where you trade out DMs and you just add a little bit more to the storyline. So we'll trade like say a 4-week short campaign, have an excuse for our character to rotate out, and then we will trade roles, and then somebody else adds to the storyline. But this is
Wow.
what I love Dungeons and Dragons so much. I usually play a druid character. Druids are my people. I often play orcs. I've played paladins before, clerics. I'm not really much of a magic user, but like druids are my people. Druids are my people. But
Yeah,
you play.
yeah. So I'm a part of a online session with my friends, and they asked me to be a part of it because one of their people had left, and then I was like, I don't know. I mean, I've always been interested, but I don't know much about it. And they're like, we'll teach you. We'll teach you. And so it's been a learning experience from the beginning. But I am a human bard, because
Nice.
I'm real boring, I guess. I'm
No,
like,
no,
I
that's
want to
not
be a
boring.
bard, and they're like, you don't want to be anything else like orc or fair. And I'm like, no, I just want to be a human. Like,
Well, humans have some of the coolest buffs. Like, you can just put 2 stat points into anything. You are so versatile. Humans are so underrated as a race in D&D.
yeah, for sure. And so I have a bow, and I just got lightning on it. So and we were on a boat, so I was getting some extra lightning damage going on.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's been a really sweet campaign. Our DM is Alan the Yellow Eyed. He's a really fantastic streamer, and a fantastic DM. We usually do Saturdays around 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but we will
So
not be
you
doing it
stream
this
it.
week. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, how did I not know this? I don't care if this is bad form, but like I'm just
No,
gonna
oh,
pop up my phone. I want
Alan
to see.
the
I want to see.
Yellow Eyed. There you
Oh,
go.
sweet. Oh, sweet. Thank you. Yes. Immediate following.
Fantastic.
Yes.
It
Yes.
should have a
Superb.
big yellow eye on it. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, the South Park like avatar.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, oh, there we go. Don't want to accidentally close out Video Ninja. That would be very bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dungeons and Dragons. I've been playing for a long time with this group. But what I love about D&D is that we started with 5e, and like it's an old game, but it is whatever you want it to be. And we've done some really, really bizarre stuff with it. I know everybody says, "Oh yeah, my group, we do some really weird stuff." No, you don't understand. We do some really weird stuff. Like just the last time I DM'd in our Gods Are Crazy campaign, I took everybody to Florida and they had to fight Florida Man the Lich. And yeah, that's how our group does.
That's
Somebody
amazing.
took out the governor with a giant machine gun. It was that's what we do.
Did you protect Disney?
Yes, actually, the Lich Mickey Mouse contracted us to. You know what?
It
It was a
was a
whole
whole
thing.
thing. It was a
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
Like, I like okay, I haven't played Baldur's Gate, but all of my friends are playing Baldur's Gate, and I'm like, you know what? It sounds like it's really, really fun, and I know it incorporates a lot of D&D, but I'm so worried that it's not going to do what I like to do with D&D, and that's just do stupid things like, can I build a machine gun with these tools since I'm an artificer? I have X, Y, and Z parts. Like, you're still limited to menu options.
Right. Yeah, yeah, I have not played Baldur's Gate. Again, I'm still new to D&D, and so I feel like it would be really overwhelming for me. And I'm not good with like make a choice and I'm like
Mhm.
make a choice. I know this is going to affect the outcome 100%. Like
Yeah, it's too many choices, too infinite. I get that. I get
mhm.
that.
Yeah, and so for me when we're playing, it's like it'll come down to me, and as soon as you hear the bring, I go, oh god. You just hear me like, oh, it's me. Oh, okay, okay. I guess. Well, I'll be back here because I'm more of cowardice. I shoot from a distance, and so I'm like, oh, that's exactly 60 feet away, and I can hit him exactly 60 feet. Cool. I'll be 60 feet away,
Mhm, mhm,
and I'll go ahead and I'll hit my arrow.
mhm.
And if the arrow does damage, that's great. And if not, I'm hiding behind Nate, so we're good. Like Nate went before me, and he is here, and now I am behind Nate. So
You have mechanical parameters, they are set. I get that. Like that's how your brain needs to work, totally.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, that I mean, I like the fact that you said you had rotating DMs. I mean, that is really, really cool.
It takes a lot, like, not every group can do it, and some people are DMs, some people are not. Some people do like to DM and some people don't, but and we never oblige any player to be a DM. It's just something that we just want to do. We throw our hat in the ring. We say, "All right, we're taking a week break so I can write the campaign," and then we write it out, and then we just go from there.
Wow, rotisserie masters. That's a good way to put it. That's a
It's
great
true.
way to put it. So you guys follow the what is it D5 now, right?
Fifth edition, yep.
Fifth edition, yeah.
Mhm. Oh
Um,
gosh, yeah, fifth edition had like just come out when we started as a group.
right, and now it's I 2014. That's when the fifth
Mhm.
edition came out.
A decade ago.
Oh,
A decade ago.
oh, stop it.
A whole decade. I can't wait to go and see my group on Sunday and be like, "Guys, did you know that 5th edition came out a decade ago? Do you remember when we just picked up the book and we were trying to figure it out?
Oh
Do
my
you remember?"
gosh.
I'm so excited to make them all just feel so old. It's so good.
Oh my gosh.
I'm so
Wow.
excited.
Wow. I'm not excited. That makes me
Embrace the
sad.
aging. Embrace it. Be
Uh,
proud.
I always tell
Slurple!
hi Slorbro, welcome on in. Thank you for the follow by the way yesterday. I saw that. Um uh Galvos and I always joke that when we're in our 40s things are going to be better. Things are just magically gonna be better once we get to our 40s because you're in your 20s and you're like things are great now, and then you're in your 30s and are like everything sucks immediately in this 30s, and then we're like, you know what, just let's just look forward to our 40s. I'm sure everything is going to be great then. So we're actually looking forward to aging compared to most who are like, I just want to stay in my 30s forever. We're like, no, field goal. Like we are going to get to our 40s and it is going to be great.
Yes, be proud. Be proud of all of your battle scars. Be proud of your aging. Be proud of your wrinkles. Like, you made it this far, and every single one is just proof that you made it a little bit farther every day.
That's a great saying or elaboration of it.
Golly!
Hi Galloway, welcome on in. And now we're
Sorry,
even older
I'm
and now
also.
we're even older.
It's true. It's true. And now we're even older. Yep.
Oh goodness. So, okay. So how you started in 2014 or you started well before that?
2015. I had played a handful of other campaigns. I played some Shadowrun. I played Vampire the Masquerade. I played. It wasn't fifth edition, but it was. What edition were we playing? Oh, I also played the Star Wars campaign. All of these were just like little one-offs with a completely different group when I was living in California, and like we never really got past a campaign, and their style of play wasn't quite, it didn't quite click with me. And I will tell you, it took me so long to learn how to play Dungeons and Dragons and feel comfortable with the role playing, and not just comfortable with role playing, but character building.
Mm-hmm.
So in our first campaign, I was playing a cleric, what's it, a dwarf cleric, and I was like basing myself around, doing a lot of lightning damage, and I wanted to do a lot of like making myself big and making myself small and like running around the field like that, but it didn't really click. So I think we were 3 or 4 sessions in when I turned to one of my friends and I was like, "Hey, I'm not vibing this character. Do you want to like role play a scenario where you try and sneak off to the bathroom and you accidentally step on my neck and kill me in my sleep so that I can make a new character?" And so we did, and we had a running joke that that's what happened, and he was just the entire campaign pretending that he did not accidentally commit a murder.
Oh my goodness, that's so fun. What's the weirdest campaign?
Well, weird is really, really subjective.
Okay,
I'd
okay.
probably say the last of the Juggalos.
Okay.
Oh man, if I So, back in 2015, we had a person who was doing a Groundhog's Day style campaign where we had to go through a sequence of events, and if we didn't stop it at the end of the night, the apocalypse would rain down, and just as we're all about to die, we wake up right back where we were at the start of the day and have to solve the puzzle all over again, right? Well, one of the days we found a group of juggalos in, by the way, this is Fantasy Detroit.
Okay.
We called the place Fantasy Detroit, and um so we ended up, instead of fighting this low level group of enemies that our DM had intended for us to fully just mop the floor with and move on, we befriended them. And the DM was like, I don't know what to do with this, so he just kept role playing that we were in the group, and they initiated us, and we just rolled with it for two
Oh
years.
wow.
That like, I think the sum of 2 years. We did take a long break in the middle,
Right.
but we we rolled with it, and we ended up becoming Juggalo gods.
Oh my
It was
goodness.
so deeply weird.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that sounds weird. That sounds really weird, but that sounds super fun, right?
Mhm,
Those are the ones that are just completely mind-blowingly fun.
mhm.
So when you use stuff, were you using like tables like this? Were you
Well, yes and no. So at first, we always did theater of the mind, which we would just pretend that our characters were in a room. And that's really, really hard when you're a new player because I don't think about things like, is the window unlocked? I didn't even know there was a window in the room.
right?
I don't think to ask those questions. But as we progressed, we got a little bit more creative with throwing in minifigs. Our current DM, she has this incredible setup with a miniature TV and a glass top on top of it, and she makes her own maps, and we just place them on the TV on her table.
Wow.
So, yeah, no, we've gotten really weird and elaborate with things. We've used projectors. I've made some giant maps and detailed every single house inside of the maps. Yeah, that's that's what we do.
That's great. Yeah, we use Fantasy Grounds, so he makes the maps
Oh.
and all that stuff, and then we all just got free trial. Like it's because he has it and he has a server. We
Mhm.
don't have to buy it. We get the free version that only gives you so many things, but because he has a server, we can log on to it and get all the rest of the things. So that's really cool. And we it's very very visual, and like I said, it's on Twitch. So it's
Mhm.
also
Mhm.
like, okay, I'm looking at the map here. I have everything up at the map there. I know that he has stats that continually fold over, so you can see everybody's stats in a like a slideshow,
Mhm.
and everybody's positioned around the screen. It's very cool. It's very
I
very
love
creative.
I love that. Like, but to be able to see each other's stats while you're playing, that's something that I wish I want to be able to set up something like that on stream. That would be really, really, really fun. But that's very, very valuable to watch. I can't wait to tune in. You're taking a break this week, but you're doing it next week, right? Maybe, possibly.
Yes, I'm sorry, D and
Okay.
D. I thought you meant
Okay.
Wiki Wednesday, and I was like, man,
Oh.
I don't
No.
know.
You have stats for Wiki Wednesday? You show my
No,
health?
no, I got
I'm taking
distracted by
damage.
Taylor, of course. Defiled Entrails come in and changed his name
Oh!
to Taylor Complains.
It's Defiled! Hi, Defiled! I saw Defiled on Ragged stream.
Yeah, yeah. He
Yeah.
came on my stream too. We had big plans, and then I had to reschedule. And by the time I rescheduled, he was on Raggeds, and then he came back on mine. So, oh no, he rescheduled because he had work, which was fine. But anyway, so I think we're good with Dungeons and Dragons. Is there anything specific that you can think of that you find interesting that you would want to talk about, about Dungeons and Dragons?
The only thing is that if anybody here hasn't played Dungeons and Dragons and you're nervous, go find a group, get a D20, and just roll some dice. Trust me, it takes practice, but it's worth it.
That's a good message. Baldur's Gate. Yes, you can
Yeah.
also try Baldur's Gate, but it's a
Mhm.
lot. It's a lot, in my
Mhm.
opinion. Okay, cool. So we've exhausted that topic. Let me look real quick. We don't go in order, as you can tell. So I want to know more about the gray four-eyed possum.
Yay! I'm so excited. I could talk your ear off for days about opossums.
I'm ready. I'm totally
Oh
ready.
my gosh. Okay, I wrote a full essay to the state of Oregon about trying to legalize these things as pets. Um, I did so much research about this specific species of opossum. So, I volunteered as a wildlife rehabber for a while. I primarily worked with opossums. I've raised so many opossums, so many. A lot of people know, but my sweet baby Bree, who I got a tattoo
Aww.
um she passed this last year, and she was just
Aw.
the sweetest baby. And the state of Oregon is very they have restrictions on opossums as pets. And what came across my feed was that the gray four-eyed opossum is a species of opossum that comes from South America, and they're native to parts of Brazil and parts of oh gosh,
Mexico to
along the
Peru, Bolivia, and
yeah.
southwestern Brazil.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, duh, it's right in front of me. I'm like, I'm
How
gonna
did you
remember all the things.
know?
I'm gonna remember all the things that I read on the Wikipedia article. um, but they are very unique. They're one of my favorite species. So they are called the four-eyed opossum because when they close their eyes, they have these circles, these light circles around their eyes that make it look like their eyes are open when they're asleep, right? It's a really cool defense mechanism that they've evolved to help prevent themselves from being eaten while they're asleep. And they are just so cute. They're like this big and they're chunky and they're very cute. One of my favorite things though, they don't play possum like your typical Virginia opossum though. They have a fight or flight instinct, and they fight before they freeze and just, you know, fall
Right.
over. They're
Does
a little
that help
feisty.
or hurt your case when you were trying to
Well,
get them approved?
Here's the thing. When I did my research, their species is far enough removed from the Virginia opossum that they cannot possibly interbreed. They have a slightly higher body temperature. The diseases that they are susceptible to are very different. Let's see, what else? What else? Different dietary restrictions. I mentioned the body temperature, but I didn't explain why. They have less fur. Their
Okay.
fur is much shorter because they live in much warmer climates. They just haven't evolved it. They cannot survive in the northern states, which makes them a good case to have. Which, like, I am not in favor of the horrible exportations of exotic animals out of their home. I just really miss having marsupials.
Right.
I love marsupials so much. They're wonderful animals. Like, a cat will not do, a dog will not do. I am a marsupial kind of gal. Marsupials are my critters.
That's amazing. No, it's not Tiger King.
It's not Tiger King.
It's not
But
Tiger King.
also, like, if you are considering an exotic animal, you absolutely need to have some training first. I do not advocate people just looking up a possum on the internet and saying, "Oh, I can handle that." No, they have specific needs. They have specific dietary restrictions. They're very different,
Mm-hmm.
and I love that about them. But they are not for everybody.
I'm shaking my head at Taylor. I dated someone who looked like one once. Yeah? Looked like this. Right here. They looked cute
Cute.
then, huh? They look cute because we think this is cute. So then you dated a girl who looked cute. Bam!
Mic drop.
Mic drop. They ate foliage and they weren't that cute. Oh boy. So did this just like evolve out of nowhere, or did you see something on like TV, or you said you worked at a sanctuary? When
Yeah.
did you what decided for you to do that?
So, well, I decided because I used to have a sugar glider, and a sugar glider is another marsupial type animal, but they're like this big. Like get no bigger than this, and then they can fit in your pocket. I liked sugar gliders. They're kind of messy when they poop. They're not quarter trained, and Moonshade was a little bit feisty. She was kind of bitey. They're also a little bit too small for me, but possums, they're like the size of a cat. I can pick them up. I can put it on my shoulder. I can cuddle with it when I sleep. And yes, I did sleep with an opossum like every night. I am an insane person who slept with an opossum every night.
Hey, that's fine. My cat sleeps on me every night, so
I mean, same thing. She just wanted to be where she was warm and safe.
right.
But I love marsupials. So I had some training with sugar gliders. I understood their diet. I took care of one for a long time, and I have a friend who was volunteering working with raccoons and squirrels, and she's like, "Yeah, no, I'm a licensed rehabber. Do you want to come volunteer for a bit?" So I went and I volunteered, and it worked out really well because I had a lot of knowledge about marsupials and marsupial care, and I never lost an opossum. I even had some that had severe head trauma. I had some that didn't look like they were going to make it, and I
Mm.
never lost one.
Aw.
Um, all of them survived, and I'm very, very proud of each and every one of them. So, um, possums, brain, possums on the brain. Um, so after some time, I was like allowed to, take one that was not allowed to be released, that could not survive in the wild. And I was never really, I never had any delusions about her age. Possums do not live long. They live like between 2 and 4 years if you're lucky. And if they're not in great condition when you get them, usually it's a little bit less. So Bree made it to 2, and I'm very proud of her. Very, very proud of her, especially with her digestive issues. Um, but then I was like, I want a marsupial. Marsupials, I understand. So I was looking up different species of opossum that may be legal in the United States to own, and I found that there is somebody who breeds and exports four-eyed opossums, and they take good care of them. They're very healthy. And I was like, all right, cool. Well, that means you're not getting them out from the wild, and you're not like selling them. Like you're taking care of them. They are raised to be pets. Like that's okay, that's fine. And then I found out that the state of Oregon doesn't have those listed. So I was like, you know what, state of Oregon? I'm going to write you a very, very long letter. I'm going to do days and days of research. I'm going to write a big scientific letter. I'm going to source all of my sources. I'm going to do research into their breeding habits, into their diet, into their diseases, and every bit of information I possibly can about the four-eyed opossum. And I sent him my letter, and I got an email back, and they said, your article is really, really, really good. Would you like to talk about this and present it? And then COVID happened, and it like just dropped, just off the table. I was going to present and make an argument about this to the state of Oregon, to ODFW, to the Fish and Wildlife Department about the four-eyed opossum, and it just didn't happen.
So
Well,
how did you get it?
I didn't. I
Okay.
I never I never had a four-eyed opossum. I'd love to get one someday, but
Oh, okay. When you were talking about Brie,
oh,
I thought Brie was a four-eyed
Bree was
opossum.
no, no, no. Bree was a Virginia opossum that came from the refuge.
Got it. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. 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 Well, are you gonna try again? Are you gonna try to?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. When I have time.
yeah, right. Taylor complains: is there any risk of disease with marsupials?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So a common disease is leptospirosis, which is often found in the urine of animals, or it could be transmitted through water. It's a parasite. It could mean death. It's not good. Humans can get it, but it's extremely rare. That's like the biggest thing that you have to worry about. Um, Virginia opossums are susceptible to leptospirosis as well as the four-eyed opossum. Four-eyed opossums are also susceptible to a lot of parasites that you can only find in Central America because like it's just the climate that those can exist here. So like other diseases found in Central America, they just can't survive out here because of the climate, because it's too cold up here, because it's not humid enough. So leptospirosis is really the only thing you got to worry about. But you don't have to worry about rabies. You don't have to worry about, I mean, you might have to worry about fleas and ticks, but I mean, we don't get many ticks out here. And fleas are also a really, really interesting one because their fur is different.
Right,
So fleas that may not be able to hold on to their fur in the same way that they would a Virginia opossum.
right. Interesting. Yeah, I was looking at this. What did you call it? Leptospirosis.
Hmm.
Did I say it right?
Yep,
Okay.
you sure did.
So blood infection that can affect human, dogs, rodents, and many other wild and domestic animals. So it's I don't want to look at pictures of bacteria. More than 10 genetic types cause disease in humans. Both wild and domestic animals can spread the disease, most commonly rodents.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Most commonly, yes.
Yeah. And so if it spreads to human through animal urine or feces and they go poop in a box or however you train them to go,
Hmm.
by scooping that poop, you wear gloves, right? Like, are you
Oh
susceptible
yeah,
to it?
but also they have to be like they could have it, but if I'm not, if I'm not taking it to the dog park and if it's not hanging out with a ton of other opossums, it's not a cause for concern. Like these
Right.
things, the bacteria lives in water. Also another thing is like you really shouldn't let your dogs lick stray puddles. Just don't because there can be bacteria in there like leptospirosis that could be very, very bad.
Yeah. I don't have dogs, but that's a good point.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. Yeah. If I ever had a dog, it'd be small and it'd be potty trained because I'm not getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go out in the cold. So
Mhm.
like it would have its own version of a litter box out in the mudroom that we have, and it would be like a lawn, like they have in the airports, like where animals can go ahead and do their thing. It would be like that, just like a cat box.
You can do that with a dog too, and like Bree was litter box trained. Possums can be litter box trained. Like
Right.
it's very easy to litter box train them.
Yeah, yeah, and I was talking about dogs.
Yeah.
So I would get a
Oh yeah.
little itty bitty dog, like a
Oh yeah.
Yorkie or something, and just there you go.
Yeah.
There's your
There's your
home
pee
now.
pad.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. So this was really fascinating. I did not even know these things existed, um, and I foolishly put them all in the same category of opossums. Like that's what they are. So this is really cool. And okay, so they have a specific diet: fruits, nectar,
Hmm.
insects, small mammals. Oh,
Oh
okay,
yeah.
mice.
So no, this is
Okay.
where this is where things get really complicated with opossums is that they have very, very specific diets. So at the refuge, we had a percentage of food that they had to eat every day. They needed at least 50% vegetable 75% vegetable content, 25% fruit content. That was like minimum. No. And then let's see, what was my daily mix that I made for the babies? It was 2 cups of frozen mixed veggies, and they had to be mixed. They absolutely had to be mixed because that like contains all of the vitamins that they need. And then a can of tuna or salmon. They need like white meat. They can't have dark meat. Absolutely never any dark meat, nothing fatty, and 2 tablespoons of yogurt because they have calcium needs. You also need to give them calcium supplements as well. Um, what else? What else? What else? You can never give them Greek yogurt. You have to give them something that has a very low vitamin A content because that's really, really bad for their digestive system. That's bad for their bones. Um, Things like that are really, really. It's not something you could find online. It's something that you have to be trained for. And I've also like bottle fed these babies too with
Right.
formula. So it, yeah, and their diets will change as they age too. And out in the wilds, it's very hard for them to get the balance that they need as well because they're just foraging for whatever they can find.
Yeah.
And who knows what that's going to be.
That's
Sick!
yeah. Hey, Six Psycho, what's up? What's up? I love that emote, by the way. That's such a good emote.
Thank you.
All right, so let's talk about cathode ray tube.
Yeah!
Okay.
Yeah! Cathode ray tubes!
Oh, I gotta get rid of this part. There we go.
Woo! I'm
Tell
gonna
me
turn on
all
the TV
about
for this
it.
one.
Okay.
Oh, hell yeah! Turning on the TV for this one. We're gonna let that warm up. So cathode ray displays. Some people just call them CRTs, but the proper term is a CRT TV because these oscilloscopes here are also cathode ray tubes. Now, cathode ray tubes are a form of display that is based off of a vacuum tube that projects a laser image onto the front of the screen. So you may see this TV here. It is displaying whatever the hell the antenna is picking up, right? But it's displaying these scan lines and it's running that over a grid with 3 different colors on. Now, I love cathode ray displays for multiple reasons. They are highly dangerous, they are terrifying, and they just have beautiful color quality.
Wow. So, okay. What's electron guns?
The electron gun is like, okay, so that's the thing that shoots out the beam to display the image. Now, it's easier to explain with an oscilloscope. Not that any of these are on or working, but an oscilloscope is that little sciency thing that emits a beam and then you see like a little squiggly line in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a single electron beam emitting one laser image onto the screen.
Okay. So, what got you into this?
I just think they're cool.
So you were
I just
just
think they're
like, I want that TV screen.
cool.
That's what I want, and then go from there. I mean, that's the type of TVs we all had in the '90s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Like I used to have, there was this really, really big one that we had at my folks' place. It was a bit bigger than this one, and like I miss that thing. It had great quality. The thing that I don't like about LED TVs is that when you're watching them, sometimes somebody will move and there's like a black image behind them or some kind of tracing or some or whatever it is. Like that drives me nuts when I'm playing a game or watching a show because it feels like there's a shadow chasing behind them. You don't get that with a CRT. In fact, I would typically I would hook up Netflix or Chromecast or something to a CRT and watch everything on a CRT because it doesn't have the scan line. It doesn't have the shadowing.
Right.
Ghosting. Thank you, Switchblade. Hi, Switchblade.
Hi, Switchblade. Welcome on in. Um. Okay. So, ghosting. So that happens in LED TVs and video games. I guess modern blur and input lag and general resolution issues are a heartbreak for the nerd in me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My my dad was a tech savvy man, right? And
Mhm.
so he loved having big TVs. He got a tube, but it was like brick, right?
Yeah.
Huge, but it had that screen on it.
Mhm.
And that was really cool to watch. But then when he moved up to an LED TV, we all kind of had problems because it was so realistic. Like now I think
Mm-hmm.
that everybody is sort of used to LED, but there
Mm-hmm.
are some TVs that still make me feel like nauseous because
Same here.
yeah, because it's like it's too much, like it's too real.
It's not it like and that typically has to deal with the frames per second. So like a lot of things it feels like I'm watching a soap opera. I don't know if you've ever seen like bits of soap operas as a kid, but soap operas were filmed at like 30 to 35 frames per second and movies and TV shows were filmed at 20 to 25. So it always felt like everything was just filmed a little wrong, a little too
Right.
fast. And like now I'm watching shows and TVs and movies that have been modernized and remastered and put on a big OLED TV, and it's like I feel like I'm watching a soap opera. It like I know the quality is supposed to be better, but it just triggers that part of my brain that says I'm watching a low quality soap opera right now.
Yeah, for me, it's just like I feel like I could reach out and touch it. And so
Hmm.
that barrier for me of like television and realness, which I guess is the point, but I don't like it. Like that makes me feel uncomfortable. I don't need Brad Pitt in my living room.
No.
I mean that would be great, but like not really. But like I don't need him like right there in a zoom in shot, and then me feeling like it's like when you ever if you've ever been to a Six Flags, um, and they have those giant IMAX theater screens and like dinosaurs come out, or if you've ever been to Disney where
Yeah.
like Honey I Shrunk the
Oh yeah.
Kids, where the seat shakes and all that stuff. That's what it
Mhm.
feels like to me. Like it's too much.
I should have thrown Disney in my list of Wikipedia things. I would have loved to have talked about Disney.
Disney likes or Disney dislikes?
Yes, as likes, mostly
Okay.
likes,
Okay, okay,
but
okay.
yeah, mostly
Um
likes.
yeah, and we can even throw that in. We don't have to go over it right now, but like if I feel so choose,
Yeah,
I'll tip my toe
if it
into some
feels.
Disney.
Sounds good.
Um but yeah, so I don't know. There's and then 3D television that came out for like 25 seconds. My
Mhm,
dad
mhm.
had special glasses. He bought this 3D TV. He had special glasses or whatever that could go ahead and create certain things into 3D. Like you could watch an aquarium and it felt 3D. No,
Mhm.
both of us were ready to vomit. He's like, I made a poor choice because it was just too much. It's just too much. It's funny for me because I can't stand the judder that comes with the 23.97 24 frames per second stuff. Different brains
Mhm.
are fun. Okay. The
Well, I
judder.
think that like I don't get the judder with the CRT. That's the thing. Like if I'm watching something with a lower frame rate and it's on my like my LED TV, oh yeah, I notice it and I hate it. But if it's on the CRT, it's very smooth.
Hmm.
But it's not overwhelming like a soap opera would be.
Right. Right. That's such a good comparison. I wouldn't even think about a soap opera. So, all right, cool. So let me see here real quick. Let me tuck you in there.
Oop, sorry, accidentally cut my camera. There we go.
There you go. Do do do. Okay. Um, there was something else that I was curious about. Um, and you had talked about internet forums,
Yes.
and so I was interested to see what entails of that. Is it just like Reddit, or is it more so like what do you mean by
Oh no,
this?
no, I don't. I only go to Reddit every so often because it doesn't scratch the same itch that like the forums of the 90s and earliest 2000s did, and that's what I want to talk about. Um, like, okay, so I was a teen of the early 2000s and I was on the internet constantly, right? Constantly. Um, I mean, most of us had a MySpace, right? Most
Hmm.
of us were on I'm sure that there are a couple people here that would never admit to it, but I'm going to call you out. We're probably on Vampire Freaks, probably on DeviantArt, probably on a bunch of different message forums, right? And I spent a lot of time there. I made a lot of friends there, but like that's where I really, really got into moderation. Because I mean, not that I really had any business doing it, but um, there was a site that I used to go to, Gaia Online. Um, was very big on that site. There was a whole section of the forums that was just dedicated to like discussing your life, problems with life. And I would go in there all the time talking to people and just like, offering suggestions, offering advice, listening to people, sometimes putting in problems of my own. And it's not that I was ever close to people, but I really, really felt this urge to just be there all the time. And like, I think that really triggered something in my brain about how to act on the internet, how social conduct goes, what's okay to post, what's not okay to post, and it really, really shaped how I interact with the internet nowadays. So, internet forums are really important to me.
Yeah, and that's a great upbringing of a good moderator, like you were saying. And I didn't even realize that like you're talking about this, and I was like, oh yeah, I used to do that too. That makes a lot of sense. Why I'm a moderator for 12 channels, like that makes sense.
I wonder if
Um,
we ever ran into each other on the internet.
it's totally possible. I was also a teen in the early. No, I wasn't. I came onto MySpace in 2004,
Hmm.
I think.
Same here.
Yeah, yeah, I was 13.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, we were about the same age then. Yeah.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
91.
91. Yeah, we're the same age. Look at us.
um, but yeah, so I grew up in like it's weird. I don't know if you know the site Pogo. It's a
That
gaming
sounds
site.
familiar.
It's one of the first gaming sites, and
Mhm.
they didn't even use Java back then. They used some other stuff, and then eventually like moved to Java. But anyway,
Mhm.
um, you could play pool, you could play cards, you could play anything. And so my dad and I would play pool.
Mhm.
He'd be on one computer because I got a computer in my room by the time I was like 13 or 14. We were
Mhm.
off the modem at that point, so we were free to go as we will and not worry about the
Yes.
phone.
Oh, yes.
So we'd play pool, but then I'd also play games myself. And while playing games with myself, not with myself, you get it.
Yeah.
Um, I would meet new people, and I talked to so many people, and then I realized like, shit, I'm kind of young for this. Like, I need
Mhm.
to make sure that I'm like keeping my boundaries and not saying like, hey, I'm from X and X, from
Mhm.
this state, from this whatever, in
Mhm.
talking to people. And now I look at it and I look at Facebook and the people who just blurb and
Mhm.
like they're like so and so this happened and this and this and you're like, is this the place for it?
Mhm. Mhm. I really wish that some people had been on the early internet days and like learned some of this etiquette because it's really dangerous if you're doing stuff like that and you're not paying attention because somebody will go through your information and dig it out and they will pluck that information and it can be a real problem. I mean, I've been doxxed before. That was a nightmare
Yeah.
and like don't leave your shit out there.
Yep. Yep. um so do you do any type of forums now, or do you stick to any websites that have forums?
I mean, Discord scratches the itch more than anything. Reddit doesn't do it for me. And I like Reddit is supposed to feel like that, but Reddit just doesn't like do it for me anymore. And like sometimes I'll look or I'll scroll through Reddit, and maybe once in a while make a post, but it doesn't really feel the same. When I was on a singular website, it felt like there were 100 people there who were regularly on the website, and maybe I'd see them over here, maybe I'd see them over here, maybe over here or here. But when I'm on Reddit, it's like everybody in the world is running
Mm-hmm.
around, and there are like very specific niches, and like you could go to two adjacent forums in Reddit, and like you're never going to see the same people.
Right. Yeah. Um, the my husband Gavos, he'll go on bits of Reddit because he'll go down a rabbit hole that ends in Reddit, and then he does rocks, which we'll talk about. And then what kind of bug is this? It's a whole forum. It's called What Bug Is This? And there's another one that's called What Rock Is This? And so
Ah!
so he's like, people will post certain rocks and he'll go in and be like, no, that's a, whatever,
Mhm,
slate.
mhm.
Um
Is this a meteorite? No.
right, exactly. And so you get these opinions of people who mostly know what they're talking about because they're constantly coming back to the same niche of what is this rock and what is this bug. But if it was like butterflies and cicadas, you're not going to get the same people because it's so specific. So I find it very, interesting. I don't go on Reddit. I've never been on Reddit. I only know what I'm talking about because of him. So a lot of my mouth talking is probably bullshit, but
Well, it feels good to know that you are also somebody who was like very into internet forums and also didn't latch onto Reddit.
yeah, for sure. There was a few. I found a lot of my forums through games too. There were games like there was one that I don't remember what it was called, but it was acronyms, and basically the whole thing that you were playing was they would automatically put up acronyms like AQWL, and then you would go in and write something usually funny or witty or good that says AQWL. And I was probably the youngest in the room, but I loved playing it. We got to know each other. People always came back. Like that's what I loved about the early internet. Is like the same people came back to the same games. Now, like you said, Discord kind of scratches that itch because you have these niches, but some people on Discord will never find each other because they don't have the same streamer.
It's true, and not even just the same streamer, but the same type of community. But the thing that I also kind of like about Discord in that way is that you can find where you're mutual servers with somebody, but that doesn't mean that you can go find their secret server and just join that.
Right.
There's a bit more privacy, and I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I like participating in others' Discords mildly. My Discord is very dry. It's when I'm going live, a few fun pictures, and go ahead and post when you're going live. Like that's basically it. And then some updates on my life, like yeah, I got this or whatever. But I see some Discords that are like real involved. Like Rackets is really involved.
It really is.
I'm like, there's a topic for everything, and everyone participates. Like,
oh yeah. No, I'm in other people's Discords more than my own. I mean, if I'm ever clipping somebody's show, you can guarantee that I will pop into your Discord and be like, "All right, incoming delivery. Bop, 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 bop. Okay, I'm leaving. Bye."
right.
But other people, I just like to go to other people's Discords. You can go to mine and post some art related stuff or not, and that's cool. And nobody has to join the Discord if they don't want to. It's whatever.
Right. Yeah, it's just a way to reach me. Because
Pretty
it's
much.
really hard to type in somebody's name and find them in Discord. But if you have a link to their Discord, then immediately you can go ahead and find them by their username. So it's just a way. What is going on with? I'm always lurking in people's Discords.
Yes, you are.
I only use Reddit to find out about glitches in games. So, okay, I'm going to post the question to Six Psycho and then we're going to go back to you.
Okay.
Have you ever heard Let's Game It Out? That's your question. Okay, so talk about Windows Movie Maker.
Yay! Oh my god, this so another hobby that I had when I was a teen was video editing. And Windows Movie Maker, the very first version of Windows Movie Maker that came with Windows XP was the best.
Yep.
It did everything I ever needed it to. I could fade clips, I could have multiple channels, I could mute the audio, I could add in things that I made with MS Paint and just splice those in. I could take video and like chop things up. It did everything I ever needed it to do. And then when Windows Windows Vista came out, the next iteration of Windows Movie Maker was never the same. But I did find that Adobe Live Elements, it's a defunct program now, but Adobe had a program that was very, very similar, and I used that for a while. Now I use Kden Live, but Windows Movie Maker, that's where I got my start with video editing, and it was so good.
Yeah, I made a 1 hour documentary. I went to a performing arts high school. I was with the same 20 people for 4 years. I made a 60-minute long movie categorizing our freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year and interviewing each individual classmate. They each had their own song that represented them, and I interviewed them, so there was also talking over the song because I interviewed them over the same thing. And I did that
Oh,
all in Windows Movie Maker,
uh-huh. That's all you needed. You
right?
didn't need anything else. You had the transitions. You could throw them. Yeah, no, it was perfect. It was perfect, and I wish they never changed it.
Yeah, well, free content is where it's at, you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
Making me want to make a video clips with Linkin Park over the top of it.
Yes, yes, that is peak 2004.
um, so you just did you get your computer right away when you were
Did I?
younger?
No, no. Well, yes and no. Okay, so my folks got a computer for me um because it was like the new and upcoming thing. They also had a business and they were like, well, it'd be good for the business and and you can do your school essays on it. But it was, I did have America Online for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and my internet usage was limited. But when we got high speed internet, when we no longer had to use dial up, I was on my own computer all the time. They got a deal from a friend who was selling their computer, their desktop and monitor and like a whole bundle of things for like $80.
Wow.
And yeah. So that was my first computer and I can still smell the CRT warming up. I can like to go back to CRTs, like the smell of a CRT is very warm and familiar, like walking into a computer lab, and I can still smell my computer when I think about it, and I miss it. It was great, so good.
That's
But
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, and then it had okay, wait, here we go. Movie Maker was officially discontinued in 2017 and replaced by Video
Mhm.
Editor, which was built in
It's
Microsoft Photos on Windows 10, ChimChamp, and Windows 11, which Microsoft acquired in September 2021.
Clipchamp is garbage. I sorry. I don't know if I'm allowed to say
You
that,
can
but
say
I
whatever you want. I don't care.
like before I got into Caden and I wanted to do video editing again. And before I started using other free softwares, the first thing that I looked for was Clipchamp because I just wanted to make a simple animated GIF. I had some images and I was like, all right, I know how to do this. I know the settings that I need. I know how long it's going to be and I'm ready to animate it. And I opened up Clipchamp and it was impossible to use. Nothing was very intuitive. There was no timeline, which was really weird. And if it is there, then maybe it's in a setting that I have to like enable. And I'm like, if there's no timeline, how am I supposed to edit the video?
Right. Yeah. I'm just looking at the acquisitions and stuff. And
Yeah.
in 2020, it set up base in Seattle,
Hmm.
and then it has 6.5 million users by 2018. So, I mean, it's got to do something, but people, I mean, right now, they don't even, they're like, hey, I want to make a slideshow of my grandma.
Yeah.
And that's what, to me, what it's used for, like when you have something like ChimChamp. But Windows Movie Maker was like the top
Uh huh.
tier. Like, they were like, here's everything. And as kids, we're like,
Uh
okay,
huh.
like,
Uh
please.
huh. It was so intuitive too.
Mm-hmm.
Like Kaden, it gives me similar vibes. Like it looks very similar. You have a lot of transitions and a lot of options, and it's wonderful to work with. But it was so intimidating because there was so much that I could do with it.
Mm-hmm.
And like Windows Movie Maker it was so simple. Like if I had a copy of Windows Movie Maker today, I'm sure all of my video editing would go at least twice as
Oh,
fast.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm curious. Okay, Windows Vista, audio source is a camcorder, VCR, Windows Live.
I do the same thing, Switchblade. I like when I was making my animated emotes, I didn't know about Easy GIF, Easy GIF, Easy GIF, Easy.
Yeah.
Which one's gonna annoy the people the most? GIF annoys people. So I didn't know about that at first, but I was like, oh well, I could just make this in Movie Maker and export it as yeah, I could export the file. But yeah.
I didn't know about Easy GIF. I have no idea what that is. Is it literally just to make your emotes and stuff?
Yeah, so what you do is you upload some static frames. So for my flail emote, that's actually 4 images. So I uploaded 4 images and it'll animate them in a sequence. You can change how long you want them to be delayed. You can edit in individual frames and you can set
Wow.
it to repeat or not. It has all the options you need.
Wow. The more you know.
GIF. I know it's a graphical user image, so it's graphical image. So it's g, but I like to annoy people, so it's GIF.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah,
I say I don't know what I say. I flip
GIF,
between two like
glyph.
data and data. Like I just
Yeah,
pecan and pecan. Like it's
pecan.
just
Wait, do you say pecan or pecan?
both.
Yes,
It's
that's the
pecan
correct.
pie usually, but it could be pecan pie, and I would still say it. Like if somebody said, "Hey, do you want a pecan pie?" I'd be like, "Yeah, I'll take a pecan pie." And then if somebody was like, "Hey, do you want a pecan pie?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's take a pecan pie." Like whatever, we can still communicate. It's not gonna.
I got a funny story about this. So
Yes.
I was talking with my partner. I think we figured this out last year. I was talking with my partner, and we had this moment where we'd never eaten pecan pie together. Pecan
Whatever.
pie. I think I also switch it up too because I've never said pecan pie. Um, so we had this moment where it's like, oh yeah, there's gonna be pie. There's gonna be a pecan pie, and then we looked at each other. We're like, wait, pecan,
Pecan.
pecan. And then after, 8 year, 9 year, however long it, no, 10 years. After like 10 years, we just looked at each other and we're like, how did we not know that we've been saying pecan differently? That we like, you're a pecan person and I'm a pecan person. How did we not know this?
That's funny.
Pecan't. I like that, Galloway.
Piquant.
I like that.
No, you piquant.
No, you
Uh,
pecan't.
so we're talking about movies. Jif used to be a cream cleaner here. Cream cleaner?
Oh,
Huh.
interesting.
An inky pencil. Hello.
Oh.
If I didn't say hello already. We're talking about Windows Movie Maker. Let's talk about the movie Low.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. I love this movie. We have to have a low movie night in the Discord. We did the last unicorn last month. We got to do low this time. It's a wonderful film. Oh, it should have popped up. Oh,
There's so many lows. I
it's
put
supposed to
low
be.
movie.
Huh. Well, maybe I can find it. I think I'm gonna just be unprofessional and see if I can find it on my phone and then put it in
No,
the
that's
chat.
fine.
Um, so Low is by one of my favorite directors. It's an indie film. So were you ever in the early days of YouTube? Into the early days of YouTube? I'm talking like
I
somewhere
found
between
it.
'05. Okay, good. So somewhere between '05 and '09, right? Like so
Mm-hmm.
'09 is when this came out, but were you ever into YouTube? Like in the very early days before it was bought out by Google?
I've never been a YouTube person.
Okay, so I was really, really into YouTube and I was really, really into watching people just make their own silly movies. And there was this guy called The Receptionist. The Receptionist was this awesome, awesome YouTuber who would make these short films with just himself and some cardboard. And he would make like some construction paper characters. And it looked so bad, but so good at the same time. It was perfect. And he wrote all the scripts himself. Well, Low was his venture into filmmaking. And
Oh.
that was one of his, like, I think it I don't know if it was the first or if that was just one of the early ones, but Travis Betts, one of my favorite fucking directors. I hope he's still doing things and I hope he's still getting work because he's a brilliant guy. But this is one of my favorite movies. It's a very, very good frame of like my early internet history. It's a very good frame of stuff that I liked to watch and it, it was so good. But it's a very simple movie. It's an indie movie. I don't want to spoil too much, but it's very minimalistically shot. I think he might have even filmed it in like just one room. Um, really, really good movie made by one of my favorite directors, who's just a hilarious guy.
I'm trying to look at Travis isn't even on Wikipedia.
Yeah, he's not. He has an IMDb page, but that's why I wanted to link Low, the movie, because
Yeah,
I was like, well, I can't find the receptionist. I can't find his Wikipedia page. He doesn't have one. So
right.
that's the next best thing that I can do. But yeah, like this is my segue into talking about early YouTube and Travis Betts.
Okay.
Like he was one of my favorite YouTube creators. He's also made a movie called The Dead Inside. I think he went on and did a short film for the ABCs of Death, and he doesn't do a lot of horror. He does horror movies, but when he does horror, there's a lot of comedy in it, and like Low was really really good because they blended some really really good horrific effects, and the lighting was so good, and they threw in comedy at just the right time, and his sense of humor is it's it's so good. And I don't want to spoil anything because I do want
No,
to show
that's
this on my
fine.
Discord.
This is crazy. He chose to make it a musical after watching Sarah says perform at a karaoke bar. So Dead Inside is a musical?
Mm-hmm.
Musical horror film.
Yep.
Interesting. And I love how there's only two characters.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
He does a lot of minimalist, a lot of minimalism with that. Like Low was, I think, one, two, three. So there's four characters, but there are also like a handful of background actors, and that's it.
Yeah, let me look at the cast.
And all of his YouTube stuff, that was all done by him, all shot by him. Like when he didn't have a character or a stand-in, he just made them out of construction paper.
That's amazing. Yeah, I'm looking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 8 people in the cast.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I was wondering to myself, why weren't you watching YouTube in the early 2000s?
Oh, well,
The
okay,
answer,
so
the answer is E-Bombs World.
oh, you were an E-Bombs World person.
That's why I wasn't watching YouTube because I was on E-Bombs World.
Ah, I see. I see. Oh, the controversy with E-Bomb.
Yeah.
Oh, the controversy.
Yep.
Oh, I'll never forget that Lemon Demon song about E-Bomb's world. Um, yeah,
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 yeah. So there was a lot of like Ends of the World,
mhm,
and I did
yes.
end up watching
So here's the Earth.
seriously Earth Round.
It is round.
um, what's their names? Good Day Morning. Uh,
Mhm.
Good Mythical
Oh,
Morning.
yeah, yeah, Rhett and Link.
Rhett and Link. So before they even
Mhm,
did Good Mythical Morning,
mhm.
that's when I was started watching Rhett and Link because
Uh-huh.
they were a part of, I don't know if it was like a BuzzFeed thing or what, but there was like a group of people that were creative minds, and they would
Mhm,
do these like skits and stuff. I,
mhm,
I
mhm.
can't remember. It was like watching Zoom for adults.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of it either, but I know what you're talking about because I think either Smosh started that or they had like a heavy hand in getting it going, but Smosh was a part of it.
Let me see. Smosh. American YouTube Comedy Channel. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And then the guy turned out to be a prick, right? Wasn't
Uh-huh.
the yeah, 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 yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Different
I mean,
spans, the
no
most
surprise.
yeah, the
You
most
look back on their
YouTube
content, you're like, "Oh,
channel.
yeah, I see it."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Thank you for saying that because I couldn't remember Smosh at all.
Mhm.
Shut Up Cartoons and
Shut Up Cartoons was another one.
yeah,
Travis Betts did stuff for Shut Up Cartoons too.
yeah. Oh, okay. That's so funny. I can't believe that this is all coming back because I mean, as you could tell, like I couldn't remember at
Mhm.
all. But this is crazy. Cool, cool, cool. Thank you for the walk down memory lane there.
Yes, I think that's what a lot of my Wikipedia suggestions and stuff were. I couldn't think of it. I couldn't think of a whole lot of things. I'm like, well, what did I like before I started really getting into internet?
Right, right. Um. Okay, so let's talk about Animal Crossing because I love
Mhm.
this game. Are we
Yay!
talking about New Leaf, New Horizons? Are we talking about Animal Crossing on the Switch?
All of them.
Okay, so we'll do Animal
Uh,
Crossing series. Okay.
mhm, mhm, mhm. So when I was in high school, I took a Photoshop class, and like this was the first year that like Photoshop and video editing and photo editing classes were offered at my high school. And I did my report with somebody else who we chose Animal Crossing, and Animal Crossing is a game that I played so many hours of that game. It's a bonsai in a box, and every iteration of Animal Crossing is just so much better, and I can't wait to see what they do with the next one.
Yeah.
whenever that is. Ray White Gray! Maka Waka! Oh my gosh, you guys, hi!
Yeah, and thank you for the
Oh,
100 bits. I was just saying, thank you for the. I have alerts turned off for the interviews, so
that's
that way
okay. That is
nothing
okay.
goes crazy. But
Maka
yeah,
Waka!
Animal Crossing is just like a solace. It's like a happy place.
Yeah, it is. It's wonderful. And it feels like the game is always evolving in a way. Like you have New Horizons, right?
Yes.
Did you play any of the previous games?
New Leaf.
Mhm.
I still play Pocket Camp
Mhm. Mhm.
on on my phone. I still play Pocket Camp
Mhm.
every day since it came out. Okay, no, stop. Okay, so let me see. Let me see. I did the GameCube one. So yeah. Happy Home Designer, Nintendo 3DS, Animal Crossing, and Move. No, these are extra shit. I don't need that. Pocket Camp, New Horizons. Give me the names of them. Oh my god. Okay, Animal Crossing
Mhm.
Wild World, which I didn't have.
Mhm.
Animal Crossing City Folk, I didn't have. Animal Crossing New Leaf, I did have.
Mhm.
Happy Home Designer, and then
I think
the
I
New
still.
Horizons.
Oh yeah, I still have my copy of Wild World here from GameStop.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And that was on the DS.
Uh-huh.
Then
Oh
that's
God. So Wild World, I wasn't allowed to have a GameCube when I was a kid. I was a PlayStation person because my mom was like, "You only get one console because if you get a second console, you're not going to use the other one." I was not allowed to have a GameCube, forbidden. But I did get a Nintendo DS. So Wild World was my first one that I owned. Although I did play a bit when I was over at my friend's place.
mm-hmm.
We played a lot of the first one on the GameCube, but Animal Crossing for the DS. I played so many hours of that game. I was really into like putting tiles down, and that is where my love of rock hunting and finding fossils and going beachcombing came from.
That's amazing. That's
Mhm. Like
amazing.
I love going outside in nature because of Animal Crossing. Like one of my favorite fish is the ocean sunfish because of Animal Crossing.
Is that the flat one?
Uh-huh, uh-huh. It's the big flat
That
boy
orange one?
with the little no, not the orange one, it's the blue one. So it's
Oh.
big and it's orange and it looks like a shark when you're fishing for it in the water. And
What is it
you
called
pull it
again?
out, the ocean sunfish. It's such a big dumb fish.
Oh my god. That's so
They're so
funny.
big. They're so big and so dumb, and I love them. But they're called an ocean sunfish because they'll like flounder on the top of the ocean and sun themselves.
Oh.
But I caught one of those in Animal Crossing, and it had the dumbest little flapper, the little dumbest little flippy flappers, and I was like, its fins are so big, its fins are so small, its body is so big. How does this thing exist? I love it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
Yes!
it's something looking.
Yeah, it's very, very strange. It looks better in Animal Crossing though.
I know.
Like
Yeah, I think so too. Um but yeah, so I agree. Animal Crossing, the newest one. I was New
you're not wrong, Racket.
Horizons.
Racket's right. That is where I learned to be dastardly.
uh all right, so Animal Crossing GameCube came out
Mhm.
2001.
Mhm.
Wild World came out in 2005 on the DS.
Mhm.
City Folk came out in 2008 on the Wii, which I did not have.
Mhm.
I had the Wii, but I did not have this game.
I didn't have it either.
New Leaf I got on the 3DS because
Mhm.
that was the first console I owned.
Oh.
Because all the other ones, like I had a PlayStation that was passed down to me from my brother. I
Mhm. Mhm.
had a GameCube that was my friend's. I
Mhm.
had, you know
Mhm.
what I'm saying, like all that. But
Yeah.
I bought the DS with my money,
Oh.
3DS, and I was like, yes. And so I worked that thing to the ground.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
hey, Chris, by the way, that's the fish ending in Dory that they say, hey, watch where you're going. Oh, that's the fish in Finding Dory. Hey, watch where you're going. Oh, that's funny. That's interesting. Wild World was good. Sunfish are terrifying.
It's not the fish in Finding Dory that go. Oh wait, no. Oh, you're right. You're right. It is. It is, Chris. It is. It is. You're right. You're right. Yeah, ocean sunfish. Great,
That's
great
great.
fish.
And then Pocket Camp came out in 2017, and
Yep.
I've been playing every day since release.
Hell yeah.
Like it's do you have a morning routine on your phone?
Mhm. Mhm.
Like you
I
go to this and then you go to this. Like for me, I play Pokemon Go. I catch my Pokemon of the day. I
Mhm.
go to Pokemon Pocket Camp. I
Mhm.
do my chores for the day. I play Words
Mhm.
with Friends with like 5 people. I go through my Words with Friends, get my all my stuff, and then I go to my time hop and I finish with my time hop and I go with that. And that's my morning routine.
Mhm.
What is
I
yours?
Well, I only do my messages now because then I would sit in my bed and just like be on my phone all day, or I would just like be on my video games all day. I save all my technological routines for the end of the night. Maybe that's why I have trouble sleeping, but usually that involves Wordle, and I do the New York Times circuit. Except I don't do connections. I just do Wordle, spelling bee, Sudoku. I fucking love Sudoku, and if I'm really feeling it, then the mini.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sudoku is the shit. I
It
agree.
is.
Um, Puzzles are amazing. Let's just talk about puzzles. Puzzles are amazing.
Puzzles all
Mm-hmm.
day. Oh, that's something I missed from the original GameCube version. And I know you didn't have the GameCube version, but in the Animal Crossing GameCube version, they had classic games that you could play. You could like find an arcade machine, put it in your house, and then interact with it, and then it would just load up a classic game.
I remember that because again, my friend had the. I would go over
Hmm.
my friends to play Animal Crossing
Yeah.
because you could play together,
Uh-huh.
right? Yeah.
Yep.
And so yeah. I remember
Yes.
the you could play like is it like Tetris and stuff or what was it?
Oh gosh. There was Punch Out. I'm pretty sure Punch Out was on there. Oh gosh, I don't remember the other games, but I know that they were very, very low tech old old
Old
games.
games, yeah.
Very old games. Yes, and right, Racket, we do need to have that Sudoku competition. We do.
Game Boy Advance connectivity, multiplayer, Nintendo Entertainment System games,
Hmm.
which are playable via emulation. The package
Hmm.
memory card includes animal. I don't know. This is all in like French, but like Balloon Fight, Donkey Kong, Excite Bike, Golf, Mahjong, Punch Out. You were right. Soccer, tennis, and Wario Woods.
Excite Bike. We definitely had Excite Bike too. And yeah, Dobutsu no Mori. That's Japanese for Animal Forest.
Oh, yeah. I now you said that, I totally remember.
Hmm.
That's so weird. Like you collect uh KK songs now,
Uh-huh.
like and gyroids,
Yes.
and those are the things that you collect besides like fish and bugs and whatever
Uh-huh.
fossils.
Uh-huh.
But this, I remember this. You went around and tried to collect it for your games, like so you
Hmm.
could play those games. That's crazy. You are
Yeah, like
tripping me out with all these memories.
it's nostalgia day.
It is. It totally is. So out of all the ones you played, which one felt the most like true? Like which one do you feel like was the most like you could go back to it?
Oh gosh. I mean, that's really hard to say because I love going back to New Horizons because there are so many features and I can just sculpt a whole island. But I think the one that hits me the hardest is probably New Leaf.
New Leaf?
Hmm. New Leaf. That's where I first learned about the ocean sunfish. That's where I got my fear of scorpions. That's where I got like I remember setting the clock back to like what's it I would set it back to New Year's in the dead of winter so that I would feel warmer. I would play for hours and hours and hours and reset the clock and go bug hunting at IRL time 10 o'clock at night, in-game time 2 in the morning, or
Right.
switch that. IRL time 2 in the morning, in-game time 10 o'clock.
Right. Yeah, and they nipped that in the bud in the new one, man. You
Mm.
cannot time travel. I mean, you can, but you're gonna lose some shit.
Oh yeah.
But this stuff, yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, looking at the picture right here, I totally forgot that you're the mayor.
Hmm. You are the mayor, and that's also where they introduced different hair colors, like you no longer had to have the little pointy hat anymore.
Mm-hmm. And this had the island, right?
Mm-hmm.
that you can go through and swim to the island?
The GameCube version had that. I don't remember if this has it, but I know that you could play with your friends and your friends could go to your island. I don't remember if this one had the island that you could swim to. God, Cap'n in the first game was so questionable. I
Yeah,
am amazed that they included him again, but at least they toned him down.
they toned him down. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, shit, that's some good
Yeah,
stuff.
it is.
Um, so let's talk about Phantom of the Opera.
Oh yeah, I hate that movie.
So it's
I
the
hate
movie
that
you
movie.
hate, or is it the? All right, which film? 2004 film?
Um,
19.
Either or, it's all the same premise, and it's the premise that I don't like.
Okay.
Yes. So I really, really, really don't like this film at all.
Okay.
I think it's terrible. I think the premise is terrible. I think the characters are written terribly. I don't understand what the appeal is. I don't understand why people like it. But I will conversely say one of my favorite films is The Phantom of the Paradise, which is a parody redoing of Phantom of the Opera, but in the style of like Rocky Horror Picture Show. And I
Yes.
love that movie so much because you can tell where the directors and the writers were like making fun of Phantom of the Opera, and I'm like, yes, that is gold. But I hate this. I hate Phantom of the Opera so
Were
much.
you happy to hear that it closed up, or right? Because on Broadway, I think it had
Mhm.
the last show.
Ew!
Erim, welcome on in. They're probably gonna see ads. I don't have ads turned off.
Yes, Great White Gray knows about the Phantom of the Paradise. You know, White Gray.
That's so funny. Guys, welcome on in. Welcome to the zoo. I'm the Rusty Panda. And this is Mother of Carp. And right now we're doing Wiki Wednesday, the show where we have the streamers do 15 things they like, 5 things they don't like, and we go down the Wikipedia rabbit hole. I'm so happy that you're here. Erum was here last week, and we had a
Ah,
blast.
the
Um,
Pope of Indiana.
yeah, we had a blast. And so thank you guys for coming on in, following the raid. Miss Jellybeans, thank you for my emotes. That always makes me feel so good to see other people with my emotes. Um, okay, so I want to look up this. What is it called? Phantom of Paradise.
Phantom of the Paradise. It's wonderful. I If you don't like Phantom of the Opera and you do enjoy Rocky Horror Picture Show, this is the movie for you.
Rock musical comedy horror.
Uh-huh.
Interesting. And hi, Peekaboo Draws. Welcome on in. Um, okay. So, singer songwriter is heard by acclaimed record producer. Set to run by a 1950 style nostalgia band, the Juicy Fruits.
Mhm.
John believes Winslow's music is perfect to open the Paradise. Wants highly anticipated new concert hall, and his right hand man Arnold steal it under the guise of producing Winslow. Okay,
Mhm.
so I'm not going to go through the whole plot, but
Yeah,
I get
but
it.
it does. What I love about this movie is that it highlights what I hate so much about the Phantom of the Opera is that, like, in the Phantom of the Opera, you've got a guy who haunts the theater and he picks on one person to basically, like, I'm not even exaggerating, he grooms her.
Yeah.
Like, he grooms her to be a singer, and then he, like, falls in love with her and expects her to fall in love with him, and then gets upset when she just does what she would do. She enjoys her fame and she feels good about herself. And there's so much obsession and so much unnecessary expectations put on another person. And it's insane to watch these characters obsess over each other so much. I get mad when they're not fulfilling what they expect them to. And I love the Phantom of the Paradise because it highlights the problems in the characters, and it makes Swan, the director of the person who owns the theater, it makes him like this gross little dude, and I, it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
White Gray says, I was in the room with Tonto, the huge room filling
Yeah,
synthesizer.
of course, White Gray also knows about Suspiria. Suspiria is a great film, wonderful eye candy. Please watch it on a CRT. Um,
What is it called?
Suspiria. Yep.
No, it's a band.
Well, it's spelled the same.
Film.
And yeah, no. Phantom of the Paradise also has synthesizers, like old school modular synthesizers, and oh, it's so good. It's so good. And yeah, Goblin, yeah, that's right. Goblin did the soundtrack for Suspiria. Suspiria is such a pretty film. It's beautiful. It's a horror movie. There's ballet. It's so unnerving. But the effects in it are just wonderful. Very vivid, very bright. Um, that's why I say watch it on a CRT if you have the chance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, this is very cool. The genre that you're looking into is just really cool because I love Rocky Horror Picture Show. That was one of the first VHSs that my friends and I all shared when we were 13 years old. And on my 19th birthday, I got 15 people to go to Rocky Horror Picture Show. And they were all virgins. And they all had to do virgin games. And it was the best 19th birthday ever.
Oh, that
So,
is wonderful.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's as good as it can get.
Suspiria, though. Okay.
Mhm. That's so the 2018 is a remake, but
Mm-hmm.
the original is I think a 1977 horror film from Italy. It's an Italian horror film.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That's the one you want. Is it 1977? Yeah,
19.
it is.
Yeah. Wikipedia. I don't know. Is it
And yeah,
1977?
Galloway, I'm pretty sure they did. I think Rocky came out first. I think.
1975, I think, was Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Mhm. I think yeah, I think and Phantom of the Paradise.
1975.
Yep.
Boom! Sorry.
Yeah!
Oh my god. Um.
Got it.
Okay. Cool. 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 So, uh, a Stockholm syndrome lady and possibly falls in love with the Phantom, but not really. And now he's grooming her and
Uh-huh.
the
Uh-huh.
creepy, creepy stuff. So.
Also, can we talk about the fact that he's like in his 40s and she's 18? Like that is so problematic in Phantom of the Opera. There's a problem with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. This it sold box office $154 million for the Phantom of the Opera.
Mhm.
And their budget was only 70-80 million, so they made some buck.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean Phantom of the Opera, the musical closed like just recently. Hold on, Phantom of the Opera musical.
Mhm.
No, I don't care about the acts. I just want to know how do I send production as you wanted for okay, I want to know about I want to know about the Broadway version. Tell me about Broadway. Oh my god. I'm just going to Google it. When did Phantom of the Opera close? April 16th, 2023.
Okay.
Yep.
That is great. That is great and that makes me happy.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, let's talk about sushi
Yay! Sushi.
cuz that is amazing and that should be on everyone's list.
It should be. It absolutely should be.
Tell me about it.
I love sushi so much. If anybody ever says, "Oh, what do you want to eat?" the answer will always default to that is what I want to eat all the time, forever and ever and ever. It's my favorite category of food, and I really like soft raw food, and sushi is literally that.
Mm-hmm.
It's sometimes hard to afford, to do sushi cheaply and well and make it like sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've always been such a big fan of sushi, though. My family, I was raised in a very adventurous eater household, and I was raised to eat the weird food. I think I had my first oyster when I was 2, and
Nice.
like Like my mom, she was so into weird foods, and I remember having sushi, and I don't remember what my first roll was, but I know that I had unagi and I had uni. And if you don't know what
Wow.
if you know what uni is the sea urchin roe. It kind of looks like an orange tongue, and I love sushi. Give me all the sushi forever and ever. I don't care if it's gas station sushi. I don't care where it came from. I love sushi.
That's amazing. What's your go-to?
Always unagi, always unagi. I know it's not the most adventurous because I do enjoy some octopus. I'll eat that taco sashimi. I will eat that unagi. Unagi, I'm sorry, I will eat uni. Uni is good. Someday, my life goal is to travel to Japan and try fugu, which is blowfish, and you can't get it in the
Mm-hmm.
U.S. because it has to be prepared in a very specific way, and you might die, but
Yep.
worth it. I think that that's a great death.
I think so too.
I'd be into it.
I
What
agree.
what a great death. I'd be into it. So I always am super excited when I go to a sushi track place and I see that there's unagi on the cart. I will eat that for forever.
Yeah. My go-to is just raw salmon.
Raw salmon is good. Raw salmon is very good.
My friend had a wedding and it was at a sushi place and they had sashimi and rolls
Hmm.
like for the wedding party like free.
Hmm.
I must have eaten like a pound and a half of salmon. I was just
Yeah.
like I was a bear. I was just like slurp, slurp. All right, I'll have some tuna. All right, salmon, salmon. It's
See, I think I'm more of a tuna person than a salmon person because I like the texture of tuna a little bit more. It's a little bit softer.
yeah, not as
But salmon
slimy.
is good. I like it. Well,
Yeah,
no, I like the slimy. The slimy is good, but the tuna has a very particular texture that just kind of like melts in your mouth a bit.
yeah.
That's what I like. And salmon is good. It's firm, and I will eat the fuck out of some salmon. But when it comes to the battle of the two fish, I think that's where I stand.
And it's funny because I was going to ask you if you're a tuna person or a salmon person. So I'm
I'm a
glad we
tuna
hashed
person.
that out. Yeah. But there we go. So the two of us will go into a restaurant and we'll just take each side.
Yeah,
You'll take the
yeah.
tuna side, I'll take the salmon side, and together we can win sushi.
We will clean house.
Oh my god,
Oh,
I love sushi.
oh, and that's another thing that there are so many types of sushi that like I think a lot of people think of it as like just one piece of meat plus rice or maybe some vegetables, but there's like funazushi, which is like the fermented traditional old school way of having sushi.
Hmm.
I want to try funazushi so bad. Um Also, I guess poke bowls are
Oh my
technically
god,
considered
yes.
sushi as well. I will eat the fuck out of those.
You've never had
Sushi burrito.
sushi, Miss Jelly
What?
Beans? That's okay. I'm not
Oh,
going to make you feel bad about it. However, I am going to suggest that you try it.
it's true. You know what? I think that there's a sushi out there for everybody.
If you don't like
Not
raw
every.
fish, then
Mhm.
you can go ahead and have tempura, which is shrimp tempura rolls, which is
Mhm.
basically cooked shrimp in a batter, and then rice and you can ask for if you don't like the seaweed, the black seaweed. You could always
Mhm.
ask for what's the word? The pink stuff.
Ginger?
No, no, the wraps where you
Oh,
can
the
get
wraps.
it.
The pink stuff. Pink wrap. Pink
Yeah,
wrap.
yeah, where it's you don't have to worry about the black thing. Oh my god, what is it called?
The seaweed. Well, there's a seaweed roll, but there's also. Oh gosh, is there a pink one? Because there's tamago, which is the egg wrap.
Right.
Um,
That's so funny. I always called it tamago. I'm terrible.
that's
Um,
okay.
yeah, I can't think of it. All right, we're gonna Google again. What's the pink seaweed in sushi called? No, it's not nori.
No, it's not nori. Pink sushi. I don't think I've ever had pink sushi.
Not pickled ginger. Nori's perhaps the most recognizable on the list. All right, no, I'm not. Continue without agreeing. I don't care. I just want to know what the pink stuff is called. That's what I would get. See, with a clear wrap. Oh my god, Galvos!
Hmm?
Help me!
Help! Help!
All right, well,
Help.
we'll switch off this topic. Okay, so what's up? Like you haven't been listening. Thank you, dear. Can you tell me what the pink wrap on the crazy roll is called? Rice paper.
Oh, really? They have rice paper wraps.
Yes.
I've
So,
never had sushi in a rice paper wrap.
oh, it's great because you don't have to worry about the hardness of the seaweed. You know, sometimes it'll like you'll almost feel like you're choking because it like if it's bad sushi, the seaweed will almost feel like you're choking on it because you can't chew it enough because it's hard. Again, that's bad sushi. Don't
That's
be
bad
scared to
sushi.
try sushi. That's just bad sushi. But the rice paper, it dissolves. So
That
you're getting the sushi without all of the hardcore seaweed in it.
like a Botan rice candy.
Yeah. Yeah, something like that. Only it's delicious with savory.
I gotta try that sometime. I don't think I've ever seen that anywhere ever here. I've only had like tamago, and I've only had seaweed nori wraps. So, um, yeah,
Next time you
yeah.
get a roll, ask if they have rice paper, and it'll be a completely different experience.
Oh, here's hoping, Racket. Here's hoping we find a place that does it in Boston.
That'll be a fun. That table would be a very fun and awful table to waiter on.
Racket, we gotta do sushi track sushi.
My goodness. All right, so we're hardcore on sushi. Galvas and
And
I
there.
met at a sushi bar.
Oh, wait.
So, what? I've
Oh,
never had
really? You
sushi.
did?
Yeah, so we met at a sushi
Oh.
bar, and it was a completely. I'm not going to get into it, but anyway, we met at a sushi
Aw.
bar, and we've been together ever since. So it wasn't
Aw.
even like we met up for each other. We talked to each other, and he asked if I had a phone number, and the end.
That is so
So
sweet.
sushi is a big deal here. Um,
Aw.
okay, let's talk about more food. Let's talk about bread.
Yes, I love bread. I love bread. Do you hear me? I love bread.
Are you Italian in sense, or do you just love bread?
No, I just love bread. I
Okay.
just love bread. And I wanted everybody to know that I love bread. Um, I hope somebody clipped that because I know where I need to send that.
Yes, feel free to clip anything you see. I have very minimal clips on Wiki Wednesday, so I love bread.
I love bread. I love bread so much.
So tell me about the types.
Oh gosh, yes.
Oh, how about
Yes.
this? What types will you not eat?
I'm not a fan of like the really, really dark rye, like the ones with the anise and caraway seeds and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big fan of the licoricey tasting types of bread, but other than
Yeah.
that, I will eat any type of bread. I love bread. I am a very big fan of making sourdough. I love making sourdough. I've had a starter that's been going strong for like 4 or 5 years now.
Wow.
Yeah, I started before the pandemic. Might even, yeah, I think it's about 5 years old. It's been going strong since before the pandemic. Yeah, exactly, Rocket, lover of bread. Um, exactly. Um,
That's
that's
great.
really good.
That's really good.
Um, I love bread, but I have a degree in baking.
Oh,
So I love baking. I love bread. I love all types of bread. Yeast, leaven, no matter what your agent of leavening is, but especially the yeasty breads. Yeast.
soda bread is good
And
for.
yes, Switchblade, you can get a degree in baking, and I don't recommend it. Nobody should ever do it.
um, why?
Okay, so
Is it
here's
like
one of the
Gordon
problems.
Ramsay, like up in your face all the time, or?
No, 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 and that's fine. No, the problem is what they don't tell you in school is that it gets harder to find a job if you have a degree in baking. It's impossible to find a job in a bakery because they assume that you are too trained and you haven't been in the industry. So it is impossible to find a job in the industry if you have a degree. Never do it. I went to school so that I could be properly trained. I got trained and then I could not find a job. And that's when I started getting into electronics. So, if you want to waste your money and your time, go to culinary school. Um, but and yeah, I wish I hadn't been pressured to find a career because
Right.
yeah, if I hadn't, I probably wouldn't have gone. I would have saved a lot of time and a lot of money, and I wouldn't be in mountains of debt, in mounds of student loans for a job that I can't even get.
Right. Don't you get a degree in bread or you're just going to loaf around. Racket, go to the corner.
Go to bed, Racket.
Go to the corner.
Pay the pun tax. That's a thing in Racket's channel, by the way. You got to pay the pun tax. And yes, Racket, I'm going to tell you to pay the pun tax in your own damn channel.
um, Sits in the corner and chews on a baguette. That's great. All right. So, but you bake bread. What other pastime things do you bake?
Oh, I used to be really into baking cakes. I used to love baking cakes, and I don't do that so much anymore. Like mostly my main shtick is bread. I love making bread accessories, as I like to call them. I make really, really good compound butters. I made this really good caramelized garlic and onion and honey basil garlic butter.
Wow.
It was real good. You put that on some sourdough, it's
Yeah,
perfection.
that sounds great. He was just trying to get a rise out of you. You go to the
Ah!
corner too. Everybody to the corner.
Banned. Everybody's banned.
Awesome. Yeah, bread is I'm Italian, so bread is bread. And I'm very particular about my bread.
Okay, tell me your bread particulars.
Okay, so bread should be like this, like the sourdough loaves, except not
Mhm.
sourdough. It would be Italian to French. But the
Mhm.
thing about it is that you have to break it open because if you were to take a bite out of it with the
Mhm.
really soft inside, really fluffy inside, and the
Mhm.
really hard outside, that almost seems burnt, but it's not, it should
Mhm.
scrape the roof of your mouth
Oh.
a little bit
Mhm.
and as you chew it, and then also have like that it's gross, but I always say it should scrape your mouth and make it bleed and then have the marshmallowy part to just sop it up, right?
Mhm.
That's to me, that's the perfect bread.
Well, so the origin of the word soup is to sop because it is expected that when you have soup that you will have it with bread and it is supposed to act as the marshmallow and
Mm-hmm.
sop up all the stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I understand this completely.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but we buy loaves of bread. We buy loads of sourdough here, and it's usually gone within a few days, um, if not sooner.
I love all the puns in chat so much.
Bread puns are the easiest, or should I say the yeastiest? Oh, don't ever say
Yeast.
that.
Yeast.
Don't ever say that. No. Next. Okay, we're talking about Nicotiana.
Yes. Oh, I am excited to talk about this. Now, full disclaimer, I am not a smoker. I am not a smoker. I just love growing tobacco. I love gardening, and I think that everybody should start growing tobacco. It's a very important plant, and it infuriates me that we use it the way that we do. Um, so the Nicotiana plant is a wonderful plant. It grows like 8 feet tall. The hummingbirds love it. The bees love it. Gosh, did you? And there's a recent study that came out that really excited me. I found out that nicotine plants can improve a bee's memory and help it find food sources easier. So if you're big on saving the bees, grow a tobacco plant and the bees are going to be like, "Yeah, this is where I can get my flour and my nectar and like all of my nutrients."
Wow.
Um, Hummingbirds are not very common in the Pacific Northwest, but when I grew tobacco plants, the hummingbirds were flocking around. They loved it. It was so good for the pollinators. Another thing about the tobacco plant is an antiseptic. You can use it as an antiseptic, and it's It's really good in a pinch. It's very sticky, and if you get too much of it on your hands like I did, you will start to feel a little bit woozy and lopsided. Yeah, not a smoker, but I play one on TV. Right, right, Racket, right. Um, but I started growing tobacco plants because I got really into the idea of community gardening and growing things, uh, trying to grow tobacco to distribute cigarettes to my friends who smoked. And I did this because I was like, well, maybe there's a healthier way to enjoy a cigarette. Maybe there's a healthier way than having something that has something like, was it 400 chemicals in it? You just grow your own tobacco and it's got four ingredients: the paper and the nicotine and the plant matter and the honey. And I cured mine with honey, which is also really, really good for your throat. And I think it's unnecessary the way that we treat our crops. I think it's unnecessary the way that we try to produce these things, and it really does damage to the plants, the soil, and it does damage to our bodies when we could grow some of this stuff and get a better result on our own. So, nicotine is a very big project for me. I can't wait until I can grow some more of this.
So, have you stopped? Did you? You don't want to tell me where, but did you recently move out of the Northwest?
No, no, no. I'm still in the Northwest. I did have to move though. I did have
Okay,
to move, and I'm hoping that I can get some seeds going soon.
got
But
it.
yeah, I missed out on last year's crop because I knew I was going to be moving.
Oh,
So
okay, got it. I got
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Nick communism.
The communism,
Wait, Nick communism. Yeah, I was right.
Ni-
Okay.
tobacco communism, tobacco communism,
Tobacco community. I don't know.
tobacco immunity. Oh, that's really good.
Do you ever give it out for chewing tobacco?
No, I never made the chewing tobacco. I just distributed I cured the leaves and I distributed the leaves and I told people, "All right, you can shred it yourself." I did offer like I did shred and like make my own cigarettes and I gave those out to people, but I sucked at rolling cigarettes. I sucked at packing them. Um, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Well, you're like
yeah.
you done the hard part, so let them do the
Yeah.
rest. Especially so cheap. Might as well.
Oh my God. So what I do, so there's a very specific way that you're supposed to cure them, and it's a very intensive, artful process. It is an art. But I found a way to do it where I layered it in between paper towels and let the moisture drain out. You can't just like pluck a leaf off of a tobacco plant and smoke it after you dry it. No, you have to let it cure, and you have to let the nicotine and all of the oils and stuff ferment. It's actually a fermented product because the nicotine and the nicotine content in the leaves, if you try to smoke that raw, that'll fuck you up so bad. You might need a trip to the hospital.
Oh wow.
Um, so you need to let it mellow out. It's also got a lot of ammonia. Oh, that's another thing. Tobacco is a natural pesticide as well. So if you have pesky plants, you can distill the leaves into a tea and use that as a natural spray. Never ever use it on tomatoes because you will give them the tobacco mosaic virus, but you can use it as a pesticide and an antiseptic. But when I cured the tobacco, um, it got this lovely leathery brown color, and the leaves were soft like fine leather.
Wow.
And I let that cure in a jar with honey, and I use honey because that prevents mold. And when I opened it up after letting it ferment for a few months, it was like notes of chocolate. It was like a big old punch to the face. I didn't even have to open the jar all the way. I just cracked it open,
Right.
and it was like chocolate and sweet flowers and
Wow.
honey, and it was the most wonderful smell.
That sounds good. Yeah, I like the smell of most pipe tobacco.
Hmm, hmm.
Like Galvos used to smoke out of a pipe, and I was like, "This smells amazing." Like when he came around the corner, to me it smelled like what are those things called? Fig Newton.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yes, it's a lot like a fig Newton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was. I was like, "Oh my gosh, make me hungry. I want a Fig Newton." But that's great. Good for you. That's
Yeah,
a gardening in and of itself, but gardening so carefully and doing what you're doing, I think is great.
highly underrated plant. I think that people should grow it. If anybody wants to try and grow it, just let me know. I will mail you seeds.
That's amazing. The more you know. Okay. We're running out of time time here. We got about 12 minutes, so I want to know about Salton Sea.
Oh, wonderful. What a wonderful one to finish this up with. So the Salton Sea is an accident. It is I think it was in the late 50s, early 60s when this thing came about. So the Salton Sea, it formed from a runoff from the Colorado River. There was a big spill of water and it redirected to this low basin in California that made the Salton Sea. It is home to s- thousands of different bird species, but over the years, it has been highly neglected and used and abused. And in its early heydays, it was like an oasis paradise in the desert. It was like there are these gorgeous, streamlined modern buildings that were placed, resorts, casinos. People were selling plots of land, and it was like the place to be. This is where I spent a lot of my childhood. My grandpa, he bought into that craze and he bought land there super 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 cheap, and we spent like all of our holidays there, all of our Thanksgivings, all of our New Year's, and we had big gatherings out at the Salton Sea that were like 60 to 100 people.
Wow.
They were big. Incredible stuff. Unfortunately, the Salton Sea became a place of neglect. There's a lot of military testing that happens around it.
Oh.
There's a lot of like my parents told me this story where they remember hunting for rabbits out by the lakeside, and they were watching these military planes fly overhead and drop these little test bombs on the far side of the island, like on the very south side, like obviously not enough to cause radiation, but enough for them to like feel the earthquake and the shaking.
Right.
um yeah, it's become a place of neglect. Toxic waste gets dumped there. Though, though, interestingly enough, a lot of fruit is produced out there. There are a lot of grape fields and a lot of tangerine fields. I have such fond memories as a kid of hiding in the tangerine trees and picking tangerines off of the trees in like somebody's grape field and somebody's orchards. They don't know that I'm there because they got hundreds and hundreds of trees.
Right.
My cousins and I, we would basically have like a clubhouse inside of these giant trees, picking dates off of the trees. Wonderful memories of picking produce out there. But also Coachella is held out at the Salton Sea,
Oh,
which
yeah?
blows my mind. Yeah, Coachella happens out there. Um,
Huh.
Coachella happens. But the problem is, the Salton Sea is this wonderful mix of these ideas that could have been and what our reality is. If you go out there today, it's a lot like walking straight out into a Fallout game. And that's not an exaggeration. There are abandoned, rusty cars. There are that are like half sinking into the sand. There are like dilapidated buildings and shacks as far as the eye can see. And if you're there too long, you might have a breathing problem. It smells like dead fish.
So how
But
does Coachella happen out there? I see there's a Coachella canal.
well, there's look at the very
Oh,
northern
yeah,
tip.
it's
There's
just Coachella.
yeah. It's far enough away from the actual sea where you don't really smell it,
Right.
but that's where it happens. Also, I would just want to point out that the Salton Sea kind of looks like a dick.
It does. I noticed that, and I noticed you noticing that. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
but there are also a lot of artists that go out there and they will make these gorgeous art installations and just drop them off into the desert. Um,
Oh.
it's such a weird place, and the problem is they have needed desperately to refill a lot of that lake, not just for the birds that are out there, but because the lake is so toxic, the more it shrinks, the more dust it lets out into the air. And yeah, it's exactly like that. That is my childhood right there that I'm looking at. Maybe it's part of why I love Fallout so much. But that is pretty accurate to where what we were camping in, just
Huh.
for funsies. Just for funsies.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, but the problem is the sea is shrinking and there is no water that gets redirected to it, and the longer that it's a problem, the more that that water goes up into the atmosphere, the more that dust goes up into the atmosphere, and if it completely dries out, we have a thermonuclear bomb of problem. Like, that is a giant cloud dust that could be devastating to the rest of the world, and nobody's paying attention to it.
Why was this in your likes?
I because it
I'm
brings back
kidding.
so
I'm
no,
kidding.
no. Well, I mean, talking about it in dystopian horrors, but this is where I spent a lot of my childhood,
Right.
and I have such wonderful memories of finding shells and sitting in the grapefruit trees and playing and like running through the desert and like, finding rattlesnake skulls on the ground and swimming in not the Salton Sea itself, but in a little pond that's separated from it. Um, I spent so much of my childhood out there, and I'm pretty sure it has inspired my love of Fallout. God, when I was 19 and I got my first car, my friends and I, we took a trip out there and it was like my first camping trip that we were ever going to do. We camped in the back of my truck and we took Fallout themed pictures out at the desert, and
That's
some of the
so
most wonderful times.
cool.
I have so many stories, so many great, wonderful, amazing stories from this place, and it hurts to think how little it is cared for by the rest of the world.
Right. Yeah. Damn.
Hmm.
By the way, here's your dick right here.
Yep, there's your dick. It's also
Mhm.
shaped like a dick.
Mhm. Mhm. But yeah, I mean, that's fucking insane. And like all they're showing right now is just like abandoned boats sinking into the ground, and
Oh, I know that it. Oh my God! How did they get that picture?
it says Gentle own work. Gentle Australian filmmaker named Tobias Demmel, company from Parada Gamma Pictures, where we make movies that change the world in smaller, bigger ways, and I run a magazine of cinema of change, where we bring together the fragmented worlds of entertainment, education, and social impact entertainment. He's also cinematographer and film producer.
I know that boat. I know that boat. I know that exact boat. And I know that trailer behind there. They were not supposed to be trespassing on that property.
Yeah, I don't even
Um,
know. This was taken June 2020, 2010.
we used to drag that boat through when that boat used to have a bottom,
Uh-huh.
and we used to hook that boat up to the back of one of the trucks, and all of us kids would hang out in the bottom and like in that boat, and they would just tow us around the desert dunes.
Oh my god.
When I say I know that boat, I know that boat.
That's crazy. Well, I'm glad you got to see it. I'm glad you know that it's on Wikipedia. That's great.
Mhm.
Get to see it again, relive those
Yep.
memories. No,
Yep.
I get why it's on your likes. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be so
No, 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 it's
insensitive.
okay. It's
Um,
okay. It's a very weird and very, very like it's very close to my heart for so many reasons.
yeah, I mean, this is I don't. When was this
Yep.
taken? This was taken in 2007.
It's so pretty. The way the sky meets the water too. But it only gets that way because the water is horribly toxic and reflecting the light that much.
Wow, new pog emote. That's funny. Um, I did want to touch on one last thing, and I'm not gonna end on
Mhm.
a negative, but I am because I
Okay.
really want to know about jaywalking.
Okay,
I,
let's get into
I
this. Let's
saw
get into
this on
this.
your list, and I was like, I need
Get
to
into
know
this.
about this. So,
Okay, let's get into this. Like, I have had multiple conversations with my friends and people about this. Now, I understand if you need to get to a place and there's just no crosswalk, but where I come from, every intersection is legally a crosswalk. Every single one. Doesn't matter if it's marked or unmarked, every single intersection. People will just brazenly walk out into the street and they will just walk and assume that since they have the right of way, you're going to stop. It's very dangerous if you're in a place where there's a lot of rain.
uh,
Um, but I think that jaywalking in large cities, the way that it does, speaks to a larger problem about, and this might even be a reach, but it speaks to like how we're doing as a society, because I think a lot of people have that feeling that either you're going to stop or I'm going to sue you because now I'm in the hospital because you didn't stop. And I think that that's a problem. I see a lot of arguments about like, well, you shouldn't, you should be careful with your 5,000 ton, with your 500,000 million pound car.
Right.
You should be careful with your armor. Well, I can't drive on the sidewalk. I can't drive into somebody else's driveway unless I have permission. I can't drive into the park. Like there's so much space for everybody. All it takes is just a little bit of looking before you leap. And putting that problem on somebody else, I think that that speaks to how we think as Americans. Sorry. I know you didn't want to end on a bad note, but
No, I
I
think that's a
I
strong note. I don't think that's a terrible note. I think that's a really like a something to think about. I think that I've never thought about that before, and I think that
it's
that's really strong,
yeah.
smart
I I
deduction.
can't stand I just can't stand jaywalking. People will just do that and just assume that if you hit me, then that's your problem.
Right.
I don't like that. That's not
Yeah,
okay.
shouldn't think like that for sure.
Mhm.
Damn. All right. So here we are. We've we never touched on rocks. So let's do a 5 minute hoedown.
Let's talk about cool rocks. I got cool rocks. Oh, amateur geology. So amateur geology. My mom used to be a big rock collector, and yes, Animal Crossing really scratched my urge to go out and go river rock hunting. But like, my mom was a big geology nerd. I've got rocks. I have a whole bag of cool rocks. I love going out to the river and collecting cool rocks. And let's see. Oh, here's a leaf fossil I found. I found a leaf fossil.
That's wicked.
Yeah, I've just gotten into I'm figuring out how to find a fossil. And I especially love hunting for fossils because of Animal Crossing. But I love rocks. I love cool rocks. And the fun thing about rock hunting is like you just go out and you find a cool rock and you say that is a really cool rock, and then you take it home with you.
Nobody's gonna say any different.
Very cool rocks. Yes, there are rocks everywhere. No, there's no joke. That's no joke, Switchblade. No joke. Because I get excited when I see little gravel piles in people's yards. I'm like, rocks! Rocks!
Which one in that
Yes.
bag is your favorite one?
Oh gosh, that's a very tough call. I think right now, probably this piece of petrified wood that I found.
Oh.
Yeah, this really cool piece of petrified wood. This is one that I split open and I had to clean out. And there was like a bit of oil, like, see the black spot? There was like this weird oily residue inside.
Huh.
And I scrubbed that out and it did something really cool. And now I'm very pleased with that rock. But I can't believe I found a leaf fossil. I can't believe I split open and found a leaf fossil.
How did you know it was in there?
Okay, so fossils tend to form around like sandstones and softer rocks that tend to have some cleavage to them. By the way, when I was in high school, we watched this rock thing for geology class, and I remember distinctly in the documentary there was a line that where this kid he looks at the camera and he says, "Yeah, I know what cleavage is, and it has a real effect on hardness." And now I'm going to explain the cleavage of a rock is the crack formation in the rock, and it affects how hard a rock is. And I never forgot it.
Okay.
But what you do is you look at the cleavage of the rock. I don't have the other half. I gave that to a very good friend of mine, so we had friendship rocks. But you look at the cleavage of the rock, and you might notice that there is some distinct black marks to it, and that
Right.
usually indicates that if the rock is cleaving there, and there's a little bit of substance there, oh, that means that there's a different material, and it's causing the rock to split. So if you split that a little bit more, you might find something really interesting.
Hmm.
I know, right? Switchblade, real mature, but hey, it got me to remember.
It's a remembrance, yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh, that is so cool. I feel like I have to go rock hunting now.
Right? I want to go right now. Let's go.
Galvus's parents are geologists.
That is
Um,
so cool.
so they've been out in the field. They're retired now, but they went out in the field and they've been geologists for like ever. And so he grew up around rocks and all of that, Oklahoma and all that stuff.
You have cool rocks in your house?
Yes, but they're
Chris
like,
talk!
hey, Chris. Chris was also on Wiki Wednesday.
Oh, very
Um,
good.
but yeah, I think we have a few, but they're like, I know more about rocks than I care to. He says, Galvos.
I tried rock hunting, but then it ended up, it's just another bread pun as you found a roll instead. God damn it, Rocket. God damn it.
That's great.
Oh,
On that note, is there anything? Do you ever stream rock hunting in real life? That would be way cool.
that would be fun. Maybe in the summer. Maybe in the summer if I can figure out how to do that right.
Talk to Makawaka. And
Yeah.
talk to Eram too, because Eram goes ahead and does all of that stuff.
Yeah, I'll have to hit y'all up about like getting good internet reception and streaming that live. That would be neat. That'd be really neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything that was on your list? There's only a few things that we really didn't talk about. Is there anything that we didn't talk about that you're like, no, we need to address this?
I forgot what I put on my list. I need just a moment to
Yeah,
open up
yeah.
Discord and look. I mean, I'm happy with whatever we talk about. Let's see here. Rusty Panda, and my list is here. Um, meh, meh, nah,
Okay.
nah.
Awesome. Yeah, I tried to hit on the good points, and I wanted to end
Yeah.
on rocks. So, because he seemed
Yes.
really excited about rocks, and so I wanted to end
Rocks.
on that. Okay, cool. So on that note, is hopefully you had a good time. I'd like to check that that it was as or snooze for 5 minutes. Thank you, whoever did that. Um, but yeah, so I'm glad you had a good time. I'm glad that the audience had a good time. You're awesome, Uracket. And MotherOfKarp is awesome. And this interview was awesome. For sure. I had a lot of fun. I learned a lot of new things. And I had some little like memory pockets that like exploded in my brain that I wasn't exactly prepared for. So that's cool too. But let's see. We are going to go. He's done. They're done. It's funny because I know who's done, and so like, or they're going overtime. Let's go to the other interviewer of Twitch that I love so much, and that is Davey is eating a sandwich. He does
That's a fun name.
fantastic interviews. He's so kind, and if you follow him, you'll find a really good niche of community of music and gaming. And Arcade Chris, I don't know if he's still here, was just on him, and Arcade Chris will also be on next month. I need to figure out my February schedule, but once I do, we'll be good to go. So we are going to raid Davey's eating a sandwich. This is a really crappy raid call. But yes, thank you again, MotherOfKarp, for coming in here and just mind exploding. And let's go. Yeah, absolutely, guys. I'm glad to have you. Thank you for the follow.
Thank you. Thank you, Panda. Thank you so much for everything. This has been wonderful.
Absolutely. Goodbye, guys.
Why?
And raid out and stop.